Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Humbert here, and today we're going to be doing Unit 7 Learning Topic 10. So we're going to be talking about basic probability and how to calculate out probability. So let's start by just talking about what probability is. So probability is a measure or an estimation of how likely something is to happen. So I do want you to write this down because I will be checking for it. Probabilities are given a value between 0, meaning there's no way that's going to happen, or 1, 100% chance that it's going to happen. It will happen. Okay, the degree of the probability, the higher the degree of the probability, the more likely it is to happen. So for example, if the forecaster said there's an 80% chance of rain, most likely it's going to rain that day. There's a pretty large chance that that's going to happen. And so the notation P of A is going to tell us that the probability of A actually happening. So let's go ahead and take a look at calculating probabilities. So to calculate a probability, you're going to take your number of successes, the number of things that you want to have happen, and you're going to divide it by the total number of possible outcomes. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just take a look at some basic probability problems. So, for example, a success would be getting a heads on the toss. How many ways can that happen? Well, let's think about it. If I have a two-sided coin, how many ways can I get a head? Well, just one. Okay, how many ways is it possible? How many outcomes are there for tossing a coin? Well, either I get a heads or I get a tails. So that means there's two options. So according to our formula, we're going to do 1 over 2, which gives us a probability of 0.5. So there's an equally likely chance of getting heads to tails. So let's just try and see what happens. So I'm going to flip my coin here and stop. Darn it. Let's try one more time. In theory, right, when I do this again, I should get a heads because there's two options and I did it twice. Okay, so that's what we're going to be kind of looking at today. So next, let's take a look at the probability with dice. Whee! Okay, so the probability of rolling a 1. The probability of rolling a 1, well, there's only one 1 on the dice, so that's 1. The number of possible outcomes, well, there's 6 possible outcomes on the dice because there's 6 numbers. So what's our probability? 1 divided by 6. Well, 1 divided by 6 is 0.167, or when you round to 2 decimal points, 0.17. Let's keep rounding to 2 decimal points. The probability of rolling a 2 or a 3. How many successes are there? Well, there's 2. This number of outcomes, still 6. So that's 2 divided by 6. 2 divided by 6 is going to give us a decimal of 0.33. Next, the probability of rolling an even number. Well, let's count how many even numbers there are. There's 2, 4, and 6. So there's 3 even numbers, 3 successes out of 6 total. So then we're going to do 3 divided by 6, which is 0.5. Next, the probability of rolling a number more than 2. So let's figure out how many numbers there are that are more than 2. There's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 4 numbers more than 2 out of 6 total. So that's going to be 4 divided by 6. And when you do 4 divided by 6, you get 0.6 repeating, which rounds to 0.67. Next, it's going to ask you the probability of rolling the prime number. So I want you guys to write some prime numbers down. A prime number is 2. A prime number is 3. A prime number is 5 on a dice. So there's 3 prime numbers, and then there's 6 total. So again, 3 divided by 6 is equal to 0.67. So that's for your probability with the dice. Next, let's take a look at just cards in a nutshell. So what do we need to know about cards? First of all, in the deck of cards, there's 52 cards in the deck. Then there's 4 different suits. There's hearts, there's spades, there's clubs, and there's diamonds. So in each suit, there's going to be 13 different cards. So that means if I pick a random card, if I say how many sixes are in the deck, there's going to be 4 of each type of card. There's 4 jacks, there's 4 queens, there's 4 tens. How many face cards are there? Well, Jack, King, Queen, all of those are face cards. So there's 12 total face cards because there's 3 per suit. You're going to want to write this down because it'll help you a lot on your practice sheets. So then, how many red or black cards are there? Well, there's 26 of each color. There's 26 red cards and there's 26 black cards. So let's kind of do some probability. What's the probability of getting a spade? Well, a spade is one of our suits, so that means that there's 13 of them in the deck. and there's 52 cards. So that means our probability is 13 divided by 52, which is 0.25 for our decimal. I want you guys to convert those into decimal. The probability of getting an ace. Well, an ace is a type of a card. So that means there's 4 aces in a deck, and there's 52 total. So then we're going to do 4 divided by 52. 4 divided by 52 as a decimal is going to be 0.08. Now we need to talk about how many red cards are. Well, if you look at your previous chart there's 26 red cards. Again, total possible outcomes, always 52. So then we're going to do 26 divided by 52. When you do that, you end up getting 0.5, which makes sense. Half the deck is red, half the deck is black. Next, a jack of clubs. Okay, well, the jack of clubs is one specific card. It's in the suit of clubs, and there's only one jack. So there's only one success out of the 52. So then 1 divided by 52 is going to be equal to 0.02 when you divide that out. The hardest part about these probability problems sometimes is making sure you're rounding correctly. So you might want to be typing these fractions in along with me so you make sure you're looking at how I round them. Next, the probability of drawing a face card. Well, if you look in the previous chart, we said that there are 12 face cards out of 52 cards. So that's 12 divided by 52, and 12 divided by 52 is 0.23. Okay, 0.23. So, excuse me. So let's take a look at some more probability examples. You have a bag with 3 red marbles, 2 green marbles, and 5 blue marbles. What is the probability of randomly grabbing a blue marble? Well, how many? So remember, we're doing, when we set up our fraction, we're doing success over total. So our number of successes, well, we have 5 blue markers. So our number of successes is 5. Then we want to figure out how many total marbles we have, which is 3 plus 2 plus 5. So that's going to give us 10. So our fraction is 5 divided by 10. If we wanted to, we could reduce that to 1/2. When we divide out to get our decimal, we end up getting 0.5. So there's a 50% chance that we draw out a blue marble from that deck. Next, you decide you want to read Harry Potter. You go to your bookshelf and randomly pick one of them. What is the probability that you do not choose the first book? Well, here's a little tidbit I'll tell you. I'm kind of a Harry Potter nerd, so I know that there are 7 books in the whole series. And it asks us, what is the probability you do not choose the first book in the series? So we do not want to choose the first book. So that means our successes are all of the rest of them. So there's 6 successes because we could choose the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th, or the 7th. So that gives us 6 choices. So our fraction then is 6 divided by 7. When you divide that out, you get 0.86 as your decimal. Next, let's take a look at number 3. You make a doctor's appointment next week. What is the probability that it is on a weekday? So first, ask yourself, how many days are there in a week? Well, there's 7. How many of those are weekdays? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So there's 5 weekdays out of 7 total days. So you take and you can divide 5 divided by 7, and you get 0.71 as your probability for number 3. Last but not least, taking a look, this should say number 4, but we could do number 5, I guess, too. It says there are 4 male and 6 puppies at a breeder. What is the probability you will get a female puppy? Well, there's 6 female puppies, so that's our success. Think about it. How many total puppies do we have? That's going to be 4 plus 6, which is 10. So 6 divided by 10, that reduces to the fraction 3/5, but I'm more worried about the decimal. And the decimal I get is 0.6. So there's about a 60% chance that I get a female puppy. So that concludes your note video today. Go ahead and show me your completed note sheet once you're done. Thanks for listening.